resume that I made. So just to give you guys sort of the idea of like of what this overall is. But yeah.
Would you like to light skin?
This one. Sorry. Okay. So jobs in the National Park Service. I'm Skylar Hardy. I am 12th grader at Thomas Charter's Virtual Learning Academy, or VLA. And as for my senior project, I am presenting to you guys about jobs and how you can possibly get started in the National Park Service. So, how many of you, I can show of hands, how many of you have like camped, hiked, any of that? I was hoping. So, have any of like the younger ones that you like, you guys, or you don't count? Have like wall hiking or like something like that, like move sticks out of the trail or anything like that? So that actually could sort of be considered in a way trail maintenance, because even though you aren't like working, you know, for say as an actual job, you're actually clearing out a path for you and other people who enjoy that area to be able to enjoy it more, because you're helping also with all that stuff. So awesome. I was hoping some of you guys like sort of like outdoors. Okay.
Well, I can't.
So what is the National Park Service? The National Park Service is a branch or organization through the our United States government, in which it provides jobs for people who want to work in national parks or national monuments like Yosemite, for example, or Yellowstone National Park, Glacier, Denali, or even monuments like the Statue of Liberty. And that's what the National Park Service is, basically. So why am I doing this? Is because I'm doing this not only because I'm senior, I have to do it for senior project, but I'm also doing this because I honestly love the outdoors. I probably look like it, but and I want to be able to help any of you guys, if you guys are even interested in thinking about a career pathway, like you youngins over there. If you're ever thinking about going into a pathway like working trail maintenance or something like that, working in the forest, and I had the opportunity to work in Yosemite doing that type of work this last summer. And since then, I decided I really want to do this. There are a large number of jobs and a lot of different types of jobs. For example, there are more or less, I'd say there are like three really big types, like three different like main types of jobs. First are hands-on jobs, which would be like your trail maintenance, which is you're maintaining trails, of course, with your crew. You're going down like trails, hiking down, moving logs, cutting up trees, making irrigation for in the winter, because winter does terrible to trails especially. And so you're using rocks and you're like crunching them up and making like irrigation and all that. But you have to make it look natural. You also have what's called bridge crew, which is a lot like trail crew, but you you're not really necessarily working on trails. You are working with more rock structure, shaping rocks. And then you also, of course, bridge crew, you make bridges. And so then you have your scientific jobs, which are like more or less like the jobs scientific. You have your
Oceanography.
thank you. You have oceanography, you have scientists who study trees, rocks, minerals, all that type of stuff, animal behavior, and all that. And you have your law enforcement jobs. Law enforcement jobs are like your park ranger, your road patrol, and stuff like that, in which, and you have more than one type of like police officer in that type of, in like a national park, because like, for example, Yosemite has its valley, which is the very bottom, lowest elevation, which I think is, I'm not sure, I forgot. But, so you have your police there who are like, they ride their bikes around and stuff. And then you have your rangers who are up in the higher elevations that'll go around and work and do their job. And then last but not least, actually I forgot to put in like firefighters, which would be like firefighters, but they're like forestry firefighters. And they also play a big part in it too. How do you get started? So, or you can either go through what I went through, which is called Youth Conservation Corps, or YCC for short. You have to be at least at the age of 15. When you first go in, you'd be considered an enrollee, which is what I was. You go in and you apply. Out of like 600 people, you only select 35. You apply, but basically they raffle out your name. I'm not saying they're taking a hat, but it's like putting paper with names in a hat and they pull it out and you're lucky if you get picked. And then you have the California Conservation Corps, which is a lot like the YCC in some ways, but then it's really different. You have to be 18 or older and you have to have graduated high school with a diploma. The California Conservation Corps is a lot more intense, a lot more hiking, a lot more harder work. And they used, you have a lot more, it's just a totally different environment. Because I worked with some trail, Yosemite's at Tuolumne in Yosemite. I worked with some of their actual trail crew members, and it's a really big difference in just the environment and the mood and all that. They're really cool people, but it sort of gets inappropriate sometimes. Just the way they are, really foul with mouths. But anyway, on to the topic. Then you can go through college. You can go through college by, once you hit, you can start as early as junior college. Junior colleges, some of them have programs that are for, some of the some junior colleges have programs for forestry, I believe ARC actually. I believe ARC has some, I believe Sierra also does. None of those come to mind, but then as for four-year colleges, Humboldt State University is really big. They're down by the bay. Another one that's semi-close, is Oregon State, which is really big for their forestry and their study of trees, stuff like that. And then another really big one, which is far away, but it's one I would prefer, is Northern Arizona State or Flagstaff University. They have one of the very top National Park Service, or not National Park Service, but one of the very top forestry programs out there. And then you can also start through Park 8, which would be volunteering, more or less. So you would be volunteering like at parks during the summer, stuff like that. Or you could even volunteer at like a monument, or even like a recreation center. You could probably even volunteer and get started at. And next
Is the Youth Conservation Corps only open for strong males like yourself, or is
No.
there a place for females?
it's females and males. And then, so, onto my little story. As I said, I applied last summer to Yosemite Youth Conservation Corps. I worked for 8 weeks, and I didn't really, or how do I put this? I've been camping my whole life, and about your guys' age, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, I started to really I started to think of the idea, I want to work in the outdoors, I want to work in the forest area. And there was this place we'd always used to go up to camp at in the Sierra, me and my family. So we would go through this town called Georgetown, and there's this little forestry station. We'd always stop there, and we got to know a lot of the rangers, really nice people. And I started asking them questions, how can I like start to possibly work in this field of work, and all this stuff. And then after that, I sort of I always wanted to, but I didn't really know how to start. Like I just kept just living life, because then I was in high school and it was like just crazy. And then, so after that, I about my sophomore year or junior year, my mom found out